well. We can laugh at them when it all goes to hell.
Thank you for that, Brendon. All right, for Danny and Davey and Brendon and everybody else, we'll be back here halftime after the game as well. But for now, let's get you back out to Amherst for Towson and Delaware. Travis Eldridge, Mitch Belisle on the call. Thanks so much for watching this Lacrosse Now. See you guys.
Lac Sports Network is proud to present the Colonial Athletic Association Men's Lacrosse Championships. Tonight, live from Garber Field in Amherst, Massachusetts, it's the CAA semifinal, game number 2. It features the 3rd-seeded Delaware Blue Hens taking on the 2nd-seeded, 12th-ranked team in the country, the Towson Tigers. Travis Eldridge back with the former Cornell standout Mitch Belisle for game number 2. Mitch, if this game is anything like the first game, we're in for a treat where Drexel, the 4-seed, is moving on to the CAA championship for the first time since 2014.
Yeah, Drexel did a great job of building up an early lead and then maintaining it down the stretch. So that's similar to what Towson did last time these two teams met. Be curious to see if they do it again today.
So Drexel has already clinched a spot in Saturday's championship game. One of these two teams, whether it's Delaware or Towson, is going to join them. In the regular season, this was an interesting matchup. Delaware got off to a great start, but an 11-2 run in the second and third quarters put the Tigers up for good.
Yeah, Coach Nadelin talked about getting the ball through X. They started to do that in that 11-goal run, and so they're going to look to do that again today to make sure their offense stays clicking.
One thing to watch, and we will watch, as Alex Woodall went out in that game. Bo, at the face-off, Towson didn't struggle too much against this Blue Hens team in the face-off department without Woodall in that one. When we look at players to watch, let's start with Delaware. The offensive guy who's as good on the dance floor as he is on the lacrosse field. He's got all sorts of moves in Charlie Kitchen.
Yeah, I got an opportunity to interview him. Team first guy, very soft-spoken. So to see those dance moves out of him after his goals, it's actually kind of refreshing. So he is a key contributor for them. Does a really nice job of dodging for his own, but also finding the open man.
And talking to Ben Deluca, the head coach here at Delaware, he loves the style because it really adds a little bit of flair to the team. The team really fuels off of that energy. On the other end, Towson's Brendon Sunday, a little bit more quiet, soft-spoken when you talk to him off the field, but on it, he's a big guy and he's got a big game.
Yeah, he does a nice job of really attacking the net, and he can shoot lights out. So he'll be the motor that makes their offense go, and they've got a lot of other weapons that they're going to rely on today.
It's been a breakout year for Brendon Sunday. Towson hoping to get back to the CAA championship for a 5th straight season. We got opening face-off between Delaware and the Tigers coming up next here on Lac Sports Network.
Speed. Power. This trophy is not given, it must be earned. The NCAA Men's Lacrosse Championships. May 25th through 27th at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia.
In the stick, boom, on the money, cradle and a pass. Win the first championship!
Visit ncaa.com/lacrosse to get your tickets today.
Back in Amherst, Massachusetts, ready for Game 2 of the night, semifinal number 2 in the CAA. The 3-seeded Delaware Blue Hens taking on the 2-seeded Towson Tigers for the right to meet Drexel in the CAA championship game on Saturday. Taking a look at Alex Woodall, the star face-off man for Towson. He is officially available tonight. He told us that he's going to give this thing a go, not out there for the opening face-off between Delaware and Towson. Instead, it is Jack McNallen who will get the start at the face-off position. He came in for the injured Woodall during this Delaware game a couple of weeks ago. Starting in goal for Towson, it's Tyler Canto once again. He's been the starter all season long. He's got 8 wins, a goals against average right around 10, averaging nearly 12 saves per game. At the other end, a guy equally as tall, 6'6", Matt Deluca. He's been stellar, number 2 in the country in save percentage behind only UMass's Sean Scanoni, and he's 7th in the nation in goals against average. So at the face-off X, it will be Jack McNallen getting the start here for Towson. He's the backup face-off man for the Tigers, going up against Joe Linkscold. And McNallen wins the opening face-off, and the Tigers will get the first offensive set tonight.
McNallen, a native of Amherst, New Hampshire, or in Amherst, Massachusetts tonight, but
close.
New England guy, so that's got to be nice to be in front of friends and family, I'm sure.
McNallen, as we mentioned, he came in the first quarter for an injured Alex Woodall, officially out with an upper body injury, and did not play Woodall last week against Drexel. McNallen actually able to score a couple of goals against the Dragons to help Towson close the regular season with a win. Offensively, this is Grant Maloof, part of that first midfield for the Tigers, along with Greg I and Timmy Monahan. Maloof shot from way downtown, kicked wide.
Maloof with that sweeping dodge. He's very good at shooting on the run with that sweep. So sometimes that's hard for a goalie to read as he comes out of that running and throws across his body.
Brody Mcclain, a quick restart. Can't get it on frame, but it's collected. Still 30 seconds for Luke Frommer. Delaware got off to a good start a couple of weeks ago in the regular season meeting between these two. Led 5-2 in the first quarter. And it's stripped away there by Delaware. I couldn't find it, and the Blue Hens do. A ground ball pickup.
Nice lift check there by Thomas Alo. Really got under the glove and lifted, and really smart, just savvy play. Those are the kinds of checks that you love teaching your defensemen because they can keep their feet moving, they don't get out of position, and he does a nice job of taking the ball away.
Here's the guy we spoke about in the open, number 6 in Royal Blue, Charlie Kitchen. You likely have seen one of his celebrations by now, but he's got a big game. Bounce shot saved by Canto. The big guy getting low.
Great job by Kobe Smith there defensively. He's going to have a tough matchup all day, so always feels good when you get to the ball gets in your end and you get to make a play and actually do some things on defense. For me personally, that was how I got back into games, is by having that one-on-one where you had to be engaged.
Canto able to get down and get the body in front of that one. You talk about Kobe Smith, and he's drawn tough assignments all year long. He made waves nationally in his performance against Pat Spencer in a game we had here on LSN in Loyola. Held him relatively quiet in that game, about as quiet as you can keep Pat Spencer.
Yeah, relative is the key word there. You just making sure he doesn't score 100 goals is a pretty good day.
From way downtown, seen the whole way, Matt Severo stopped by Deluca. And with Kobe Smith, he also drew the assignment against Jeff Teat, Ethan Walker from Denver. I mean, the laundry list of All-American candidates at the attack unit, this guy has matched up with.
Well, and that speaks to the strength of schedule at Towson, and that's one thing that they definitely have over some of the other teams in the CAA is they've got a really strong schedule and a couple big wins. So something that will be key no matter what happens here, but if they do not win on Saturday, that would be something that they're going to take into play when the selection committee makes their choices.
Here comes Delaware downhill dodging. Dean Desimone ranks 4th in the team with 35 points. He's a first-team All-CAA selection out of the midfield. Desimone also the cousin of former Delaware quarterback Joe Flacco.
Heard an interesting story down in Delaware that Desimone had actually
shot and a score. Clay Miller will load a high rip. Blue Hens on the board first. So one-on-one matchup.
Yeah, just a nice dodge hard, roll back, get your hands free, and let it rip. Towson, I think the timing of that slide, they felt like he was a little bit low, so maybe they were slow to slide there, but I would want that slide to come as soon as you see the back of the helmet, you're taught to slide, because then by the time he's facing the goal, he's facing you and you're in his stick. So just working on getting that timing down. That's something that always takes a few reps to get into as you get into these games, especially big games like this.
Clay Miller with 6 points in the regular season in CAA play, and there's a face-off win, but a turnover by the Blue Hens.
And clearing has definitely been an issue for the Blue Hens over these last couple weeks, so something that they're going to want to tighten up. And those unforced turnovers we saw last game, both teams were very successful on the clears, and that made a big difference in keeping those possessions. So Towson certainly going to press out a little bit, but Delaware needs to make sure they're making the easy pass and finding that easy open man.
Here's Brendon Sunday down the alley. Such a breakout season he's had as Frommert shot sales high. Sunday came into this season off a 23-point season a year ago. He got there in like 5 games this season, up to 23 points. A first-team All-CAA selection with 58 points on the year, including 39 goals.
He's a big frame, and what I like about his game is he runs really hard every time he's dodging. He doesn't loop into it. He doesn't throw a ton of jukes. He changes speed, he changes direction, but he just runs really hard and does a nice job of getting his hands free and using that frame to his advantage.
This is Monahan, spins back off the bar. That thing had some heat, but it stays with the Tigers and a fresh 80.
Two of those kind of turnaround, just turning fires. Clay Miller found the back of the net with his, and that one just off the pipe.
This is Timmy Monahan. Gets the hands free, stopped by Deluca.
Deluca so good. As soon as he made that save, he immediately reached out, found it, and pulled that ball back to him. So great rebound control there by Deluca, and that's important when you're playing teams that really crash the crease and sniff around for those rebounds. I guess the only benefit is Towson doesn't have a ton of Canadian guys. Those guys are always down there finding those juicy rebounds to put back in the biscuit. Put the biscuit in the basket.
Yeah, we saw it with Drexel in game 1 here tonight. Getting free, Joe Isley, the dive. The refs are going to talk it over. A flag is down.
Certainly going to be a push on the defense.
No goal. It's waved off. It's a crease violation. And they wipe off the flag as well. And it's just Tigers' ball.
So that, to me, that can't be right. If they throw the flag, then they thought there was a push there. But they're saying he dove towards the goal mouth. Thank you. But that is where the rule just needs to be cleaned up a little bit.
Here comes Kobe Smith in transition. Another stop by Deluca. Kobe Smith, the guy who can go. He's got 10 points on the year, including 6 goals. That was a good opportunity. I think, though, what they may have said is that he stepped in the crease before the push because he kind of was tiptoeing the crease on that far side. We had a tough angle at it.
And that's a great call. If he had touched the crease, then that would have...
Then it wipes off the push, and we're still at even strength here as Towson works offensively. Brendon Sunday, hands free, and we got a tie game.
And that's that just strong, powerful, hard dodge. Not a ton of juke. He drives his shoulder in, and then he runs hard, gets his hands free, and shoots that back short side. Matt Deluca taking up so much of that net, big wide body, but if you can pull that ball short side, that's hard for a bigger goalie who starts to move those feet across. He brings his stick, he brings his body, and he might leave those short side gaps open a little bit.
Brendon Sunday up to 40 goals on the season. It really started from the very beginning. Game 1, we saw it where he scored 6 goals against Johns Hopkins, and he has not really slowed down since. It's been a stellar final year in a Towson uniform for Brendon Sunday. Another face-off win there for Jack McNallen. Coming all the way through is Chad Patterson. And Towson able to get an offensive set. And we got an offsides call there on the Tigers.
And the face-offs are one area that I called the Delaware game a few weeks ago, and that was the only glaring weakness. They ended up winning the game, but they still had just got beat pretty handily in the face-off arena, and this was against Hofstra, and that's one area I said they're going to have to clean that up if they want to make a run here, and that is one where they have Jay Curvada, but he's been injured. He broke his wrist, and he's their go-to guy. So they've done it. You see a lot of red tape out on sticks out there. They've done it by committee out there and have done a serviceable job and made it scraps every time. But it's tough when you don't have your number one guy out there and you're facing a team like Towson with an Alex Woodall, or even with their second guy who's doing a great job tonight. So McNallen has really stepped up. And
Kitchen! I think it hit the post. It got by Canto. Great play there by Jimmy Wilkerson. Gets out of some traffic.
Awesome hustle there. Ran into 3 guys, but kept his legs churning and was able to run out of there. That's what's key. Players don't disappear once you pass them. You got to keep your feet moving.
Jimmy Wilkerson actually studying to be in the Secret Service throughout this season. He's been actually missed practice at different times throughout this spring to go and take different tests and exams down in D.C. to try to become a member of the Secret Service. We were talking to Coach Nadalin earlier this year. He said, anything we do in practice after sitting in a room trying to answer questions for 6 straight hours is relatively easy.
He'd tell you more, but he'd have to kill you.
Yeah, exactly. Secret safe with Jimmy. Luke Frommert rolls through, and he's dragged down.
His entire stick went in the goal there. He had to dodge both his defenseman and his teammates.
It's a crease violation to give it to Delaware.
I don't know that I've ever seen that where you had to inside roll your own teammate to try to get to the cage.
So past the midway point of this opening quarter, knotted up at 1 apiece in our second CAA semifinal of the night here in Amherst, Massachusetts. Winner of this one will move on to take on the 4-seeded Drexel Dragons. Drexel knocking off top-seeded UMass in the first semi. They're headed to the CAA championships for the first time since 2014. This is Jackson Finnegan. Top shelf! Finnegan makes it 2-1 Blue Hens.
And I don't know if it was a scout on Canto, but shoot out of your roll seems to be the motto tonight. Both goals coming directly out of that roll. That reminds me a little bit of the early 2000s Syracuse team. Used to be so good with Stephen Brooks. They would dodge hard, plant roll back, and fire that thing. He took a couple steps out of it, but a nice low to high changing planes there. So that's going to be effective. Now what you're going to look to see is both teams have to start sliding a little bit quicker. And once those slides come quicker, can you have your head up and find that open man either inside or on the skip pass?
Jackson Finnegan, a guy who's really come on as of late in the CAA slate. The poor guy missed the last 2 years with season-ending injuries. This is his 6th season with the Blue Hens as a senior. Native of Concord, Massachusetts, getting a chance to come home to his home state to play in a CAA tournament. And you got to feel good for the guy who is really actually impressed Coach Sean Nadalin. We got a 10-man ride, a long-range shot from Towson, but no backup.
Yeah, and he's looking over the sideline like, we got to know that. We got to have somebody back there, and that is something that you got to make sure you have a call for, expecting that 10-man ride, and your attack need to have their head on a swivel to know that that call might be in effect, and one of your defensemen might be shooting that ball at the other end.
Goal was wide open, and he couldn't get it on frame, and it ends up being a turnover. Coach Nadalin and the Towson sideline wanted an offsides call. They're not going to get it, so Delaware continues with the offensive set. It's a Blue Hens midfield that doesn't go real deep. Jackson Finnegan, really the only extra guy they have outside of that top midfield unit that you're going to see play substantial minutes.
Yeah, and they'll flex a little bit between attack and midfield with guys like Ty Kurtz and Clay Miller and sometimes inverting. But, yeah, they really run that 5-6-man rotation on offense for pretty much everything.
On the sideline, saved by the Blue Hens. Joe Isley keeps it alive. And here's Charlie Kitchen with 15 on the shot clock. Rolls and shot wide. Still 9 seconds left to work for Delaware. Isley starts from the corner. Defended by Gray Bowden. Draws a flag. And despite getting the stop and the shot clock violation, we're going to see the Blue Hens on the man up for the first time tonight.
And they're calling Bowden for a slash there. He did a really nice job of sitting down and driving him out. He pushed off, and as he pushed off, he followed through with a hard check. I'm assuming the ref probably gave him a warning on the first one, and he did it again, and that was what did him in. Finds the hands, does a nice job. He pushes off and then follows through with a hard check. Typically, the ref's going to give you a warning or two before he calls you on those because you're hitting the arms. He's trying to disrupt the ball.
So 1 minute extra man coming here for Delaware. Just 30% on the season on the extra man. Everything kind of pales in comparison to that Drexel performance. Entered the night at 50%.
Well, it's a surprising stat for me because they're so good at feeding from behind, especially with Charlie Kitchen.
Kitchen down low on the doorstep, stopped by Canto. Matching sticks, Tyler Canto with a stop. Still 25 seconds left to kill off of this penalty. Wilkerson brings it over across the midfield stripe. And Towson content to kill off the rest of the extra man.
Tyler Canto, a Billerica Mass native. So again, a couple Mass players on these teams that traditionally draw from more of the south and south of Mason-Dixon line, but those got to be good for those guys to come home, and also shows the expansion of the sport. Great players are everywhere.
Yeah, Drew Laundrie, Tyler Canto actually played in high school with Jeff Traynor from UMass, who we saw in this first game.
They'll try to carry on the Massachusetts torch towards the championship.
About an hour and 40 minutes or so from their hometown here in western Massachusetts. Here's Sunday at the top, back to even strength. Maloof skip pass across, couldn't find Monahan cleanly. 8 seconds left on the shot clock. Towson's got to hurry. Maloof sends it behind. I don't think he knew how much time was on that shot clock, and that's a shot clock violation for the Tigers.
Great on-ball defense here by Jackson Finnegan. Love seeing that. We talked about the two-way middies in the first game, but low in the shot clock, you got Jackson Finnegan against Grant Maloof, one of their most dangerous dodgers, and he does a nice job of finding the hips and driving low. Coach Deluca obviously is one of my defensive mentors, so both of these guys, Coach Nadalin as well, have learned a lot from him. So two very defensive-minded players and teams that are very disciplined in their one-on-one defense.
Here comes Dean Desimone, stripped away. A cause turnover for the Tigers, and here comes Kobe Smith. Check out the Jets. Keep an eye on him in transition, but Delaware able to get back in the hole and stop it.
Delaware had 2 poles, so definitely looking to push here. Not afraid to send their defensive players down there to see if they have a look there. And with speed like Kobe, not too worried about him getting back in the hole.
Well, I think it's interesting, and it was something that Coach Nadalin spoke about at the beginning of the season, where he said, you know, traditionally you think of a Towson team, it's a settled 6-on-6. We're going to get back and play defense. We're going to take our time on offense, get a good shot. But with the shot clock and the athletes he has on this team, this year's team has been encouraged. Hey, if you've got a good opportunity, let's go. Let's take a chance. Make sure it's a good quality shot, but take a chance.
Yeah, when you have the athletes, that makes that a lot easier, because then you don't feel so bad if you do turn the ball over that they can't get back and make those plays. So it's fun to have that flexibility. And speaking of athletes, Austin Haynes with a nice takeaway down there on Brendon Sunday. He's going to have a tough matchup all day, but he's so far been up to the task. Really just a smart physical player, very aggressive. I think sometimes he can get caught a little bit with that aggression, but he's been playing very well tonight in limited Sunday. Other than that first goal where I don't think he was covering him. So maybe they actually have switched that matchup since that first goal.
19 seconds left of the first quarter. Delaware and Jackson Finnegan content to try to hold for one more good opportunity. Up 2-1. Finnegan gets free. He's got a man open. Ty Kurtz stopped by Canto.
Great extra step there by Kurtz, and what a save by Canto.
Save number 3 of the first quarter for Tyler Canto. He's pumped, but the Blue Hens, they are eyeing an upset here in Amherst. We already got one upset tonight in the CAA semifinals. Why not 2? Jackson Finnegan and the Hens up 1 as we head to quarter number 2.
That's the gritty game we're looking for. 2-1 Delaware right now. Everybody, Tom Ashton in the LSN studios. You're watching Towson and Delaware, so let's get you caught up on the first semifinal between UMass and Drexel earlier tonight at Garber. Let's get out there now. Drexel, the 4 seed, UMass, the 1 seed, and hosting. And here is how it all went down out there tonight in Amherst. Let's get to the highlight, shall we? That's a nice shot at Garber Field. There we go. Now we're at the highlight. 4-1 Drexel here with 5 minutes to go in the first. And Marshall King finds Jack Mulcahy in the middle. Drexel takes a 5-1 lead early on. Yeah, you can see they were cooking early and often. Let's go to the second half as UMass made a little bit of a run. 4-1 run of their own to get back in it. Chris Connolly on the transition, finding Devin Spencer to inch the Minutemen within 3. So it's a 3-goal game, 11-8 Drexel leading. 15 seconds to go here in the third quarter. This was a huge play in the game as we go 7 minutes rather, 14-11. Drexel putting it on late, icing on the cake, as they say, going on to win 15-12. They advance to the championship game, 15-12 the final. Matthew Varian at 3 goals, Marshall King and Mailman all with hat tricks for Drexel as they advance to the championship. And of course, stay tuned for more on this game at Lacrosse Now later on tonight after this one. But for now, get you back out to Amherst.
Welcome back to Amherst, Massachusetts. Second semifinal of the night in the CAA. Brendon Sunday and Charlie Kitchen, two of the guys we see here tonight, the co-offensive players of the year in the conference. It was announced just yesterday as both were also part of the All-CAA first team at the attack unit, joined by Ryan Tierney out of Hofstra, who had a great season. The Pride not here in the semifinals, though, but Sunday has been stellar throughout his senior season. Already talked about him. I mean, well-deserved co-offensive player of the year award in this conference, and he may be in conversation for a possible All-American as well.
Yeah, and each team has their handful of guys that are go-to guys, but a couple of these teams have guys that are on the national scale, and he's one of those too. And Canto's another guy that has stepped up and played and made some unbelievable saves.
A face-off violation and win for the Blue Hens as Jack McNallen, the backup face-off man for Towson, continues to take draws for the Tigers. We were told Alex Woodall is available tonight, despite missing last week's game against Drexel with an upper body injury. Charlie Kitchen stopped by Canto. Woodall gave us the thumbs up. He said he was good to go tonight, but we have not seen him yet this evening.
Big smile by him when he gave us that thumbs up.
Yeah, I mean, you get the feeling he wants to be out there. However, currently the only guy without a helmet on the sideline.
So if the first game we saw was a little undisciplined, this has been the opposite. The discipline by both defenses has really been on display. I think the communication has been tight. The one-on-one defense has been good, and then the slides have come when they needed to, and that's what's making this a little bit of a closer game. And we'll see who can crack the shell first.
Maloof dodges and sends it behind. Pass in front. Somehow Mcclain got a shot off, but couldn't get it on frame, but it's kept alive by the Tigers. Still 22 seconds left on the shot clock. Greg I. Back to Timmy Monahan. Step down, and we've got a flag down. I took a late shot after he dished that one off to Monahan. Penalty goes up against Owen Grant, the freshman from Ontario for Delaware, and there you see it in the top part of your screen.
When he got him on the blind side, folded him up a little bit. You saw his head keep going. So
got his money's worth.
He definitely won. That's the old 1 minute Will's worth it. That's a good hard hit. Probably just a half second too late there.
The old Mighty Ducks reference.
Thank you.
Well played.
Mighty Ducks 2.
There, my favorite Mighty Ducks.
The only best Mighty Ducks.
Tigers going to work on the man up, 45% on the season. A 1 minute penalty on Grant. Monahan swings it over to Sunday and a stop by Deluca. These goalies are locked in early.
You'd think with both these goalies being 6'5 plus that down low would be the spot to beat them, but they do a really nice job of covering up that. I guess maybe it's from knowing that they have a big gap between their legs. They got to make sure to get down there and cover it.
But a fail in the clearing game is scooped up here by Chad Patterson. He gooses it to himself. Patterson still being hounded by Haynes now. Finally won by the Blue Hens, and we got another flag down. Ty Kurtz pushes ahead to Kitchen, a stop by Canto.
Wow, what end-to-end action there. Just both teams scrapping for every loose ball. Really nice job by Delaware to continue that ball moving forward. And I thought for sure.
I don't think anybody knows there's a flag down. Canto is trying to start the offense again.
Deluca was sprinting to the sideline. I don't know if he was trying to get the extra attacker on, or it looks like he's holding his stick up like maybe his stick is broken.
Yeah, I think Deluca needs a new twig. And so they get the push on Luke Frommert of Towson. So we had been back to even strength with all the unsettledness going on. We had gotten back to even strength for Delaware. Now the Blue Hens go back on the man up the second time tonight. Another 30-second man-up chance for Delaware. Isley, Ty Kurtz in there. Along with Kitchen and George Ward. That ball goes out of bounds off of Towson, stays with Delaware.
Gray Bowden tried a little one-handed flick of the wrist to pick that up, but wasn't able to corral it.
And we're back to even strength, 6-on-6 with 45 seconds on the shot clock. Still plenty of time for Delaware, who is pretty content to play methodical 6-on-6 offense. Kitchen rolls the near side. Towson brings him help. All the way across, shot is wide. Miller.
They sent that slide very early to Kitchen. The key is going to be, can Delaware move off ball enough to get that open look on the inside so he doesn't have to just keep dumping it to the adjacent pass. It's a smart play, but it's not always going to lead to goals unless they really get the ball spinning again off of that.
Kitchen, full head of steam. Charlie with his first of the night.
Was waiting for the Charlie Kitchen celebration. I don't know what. I didn't see anything. I think he lost the opportunity. Too many people swarmed him. Just dropping the shoulder.
Just a little shimmy, you know. But one-man show for Charlie Kitchen. You mentioned Sunday. He's the other co-offensive player of the year in the conference.
That was just a nice physical dodge, and he didn't really do a ton to get a lot of separation. But again, he just shot that right off his defender's shoulder, making it really difficult for Canto to get a true read on it. And it handcuffed Canto. He couldn't get to it. It was just over his arm and shoulder, making a tough save.
Face-off win there for Jack McNallen, and Tigers get the ball back. Long shot and a score! Gray Bowden from the other side of midfield, making Delaware pay for the 10-man ride.
Love the 10-man ride D goal. This time Towson was ready with backup, ready to go. So have at it. Have at it. You got an open net. Just aim for the middle. It's 6 feet by 6 feet, 36 square feet to aim at.
Those are the practices, the moments during practice where you get to bring out the long pole and shoot from midfield that you enjoy, right?
That's typically the end of practice.
The extra work. Hey, coach, I'm out here doing extra work.
Just never know when it's going to come in handy.
You know, there you go.
CAA playoffs, who knows?
And so the Tigers get back within one with the 50-yard goal. And another face-off win for the Tigers. They've won 4 of the 6 face-offs so far.
The other thing that does is that makes the 10-man a little bit more scary, and that might relieve a little pressure on the clear. So I'd be surprised if I see Delaware go right back into that 10-man, but
here's Drew Laundrie wrapping all the way around the far side. Brody Mcclain, time, room! Brody Mcclain has tied things up.
Nothing special there, just finding a little bit of space. Good job by Laundry and creating a little bit of a double team. That was really just a little bit of pulling his man off. It's like a magnet play. You pull your man like a magnet off, and then he can't snap back. And Mcclain just stepped in and absolutely hammered that thing far corner. It looked to me like Deluca thought he had it, and just the stick wasn't long enough to get there. So, perfectly placed shot.
Brody Mcclain has been such a key part of the Towson team, and he's kind of overlooked for this Tigers offense as McNallen wins another faceoff. This team is 8-0 when Brody Mcclain has 3 or more points. He has been a key part of their success, and up until a couple of weeks ago, and a win where he only had a couple, was a team that was 0-4 when he had 0 or 1 point. Greg I quickly in transition.
True enigma from Encinitas, California, and his dad was a hockey player from Denver, so it's like...
No, that's the different McClain. That's Jake McClain. Not related to Brody Mcclain, who's from Ontario.
Makes a lot more sense.
Yes.
The hockey would then actually make sense.
A big pick, draws a flag. Sunday skip down to McClain. What a pretty finish by Brody. Luke Frommer took a giant hit here.
Yeah, he really put his body on the line for that pick, and ultimately that's what led to this goal. A little bit of ball watching on the backside by the Delaware defense, and a really nice feed by Sunday there.
Sunday with great vision and just the slam dunk finish for Brody Mcclain. Back-to-back goals, now up to 30 on the season. And it does not wipe off the penalty. It's a 1 minute unnecessary roughness in Austin Haynes, so a man up face-off for the Tigers.
And Travis, that's one of those where I understand if you really drop your shoulder and try to hit it, but that to me looked like he was just running right through the pick. So it's tough because it clearly was he hit him hard, he folded him up, it was dead shoulder to chest, but was he trying to hit him, or did he just happen to run into him? That's the risk you've got to be willing to pay on the pick.
Spoken like a true defenseman.
Got to put in a plug for my D guys.
McNallen wins it back to his short stick and Jake McClain in an offensive set, and a man-up opportunity for Towson. Get the man-up unit on here with Timmy Monahan. Frommer back out there after being shaken up on that pick. Sunday, Brody Mcclain in there as well. Number 44, Tim Montgomery, also seeing time on some man-up here tonight. Step-down shot from Monahan, sails high. Timmy Monahan coming off a career game last week with 4 goals. One of the standout guys in this midfield. That shot gets deflected. Deluca able to regain his balance and collect. And 10 seconds left on the penalty. Delaware a chance to run the rest of this out.
And Delaware really being hampered by Towson, doing a great job of pinching down, knowing they have that extra attacker to try to get the ride in. But Delaware does a nice job of not panicking, finding the open man, and then taking their time to run it over.
Orsler gets all the way through. Canto able to collect it before it somehow would have found its way in. And it's back ahead to Wilkerson. And Luke Frommer's going to settle things down. Delaware certainly getting back early, trying to prevent any sort of transition opportunities for Towson. Wilkerson can get up and go. Zach Goodrich, we haven't even mentioned him, but the All-American short stick defensive midfielder can go. Kobe Smith, of course, scoring threat as well as a long pole.
Yeah, if you can chip in 2, 3, or even 4 goals from transition, that just takes a lot of burden off your offense. Not only do they not have to have a possession where they're getting hacked up with the defense, but you're also putting points on the board that maybe came as a result of a nice stop or other quick changes of possession.
Monahan draws the slide. pushed back and sends it to Frommer. Mcclain, quick stick save by Deluca.
And that might go on a lesser goalie, but Deluca is right there on that. You're going to have to get a little bit more on it for that to work.
How about Delaware in transition? Kitchen rolling and scoring.
Wow, great job by Kitchen following the slide, moving upfield and towards the goal, giving himself a better angle, and then again, changing planes, low to high, pulls that from his knees up to the upper corner.
Charlie Kitchen with 2 goals on the night, now up to 37 on the season. Guy that averages more than 4 points per game. Number 5 in the conference in goals per game, almost 3 per contest. Top 4 in the conference in points per game, and he's gets this thing back to a tie at 4-4.
I believe that was freshman Jason Sider that pushed that in transition, did a really nice job of making that smart play, drawing the point man, hitting the point offensive player, and then again, Charlie Kitchen coming upfield to meet that ball, increasing his angle, changing planes, and getting a great shot.
Ty Kurtz, the freshman from Ontario, gets the assist on that goal. But another face-off win here for Towson. They've won 7 of 9, even without Alex Woodall. That has been one of the Achilles heels for Delaware all season long, is the face-off X without Jay Curvada, who played in the first 2 games this season, but then broke his wrist, and he has been out since. Casey Wasserman finds Mcclain, try to force it in there, and it's kicked out.
That was dead center at McLean's belly button. He fought that one off trying to catch it.
Ground ball scooped up by the Blue Hens, and back they come the other way. Ty Kurtz slows things down. The freshman, the CAA Rookie of the Year, he has been stellar. Nearly 50 points on the season. He comes into this thing with 49. Now up to 50, which is tied the Delaware freshman points record. One more and he will own it all by himself.
Miller likes this invert, this big little behind with Charlie Kitchen.
He's got Wilkerson on him.
It's been effective for them. Either he gets a good look or he's able to get Charlie Kitchen with a short stick matchup, and that's something that's very favorable for their offense.
A couple of all CAA performers going at it with Kitchen and Smith. Isley gets the shot off, rings the post, but it draws a flag, and Delaware with a free possession.
Isley had a stick. I believe that stick broke over his head. His head went completely sideways. That's one of the most.
And I think we've got another flag late. Yeah, this stick just shattered.
It was almost like a slash hole that hit him in the top of the helmet and bent his head over to the side, and he still was able to shake it off and get a shot off.
They got 2 penalties here.
You got Bowden for a slash.
And here let's take another look. This is the end of the play. There's Bowden. Oh, that's the beginning. Bowden gets him right there on a slash, and here's the second one, the end. And you got the push there from Kobe Smith.
And they called those both a minute. I would have thought that second one was just a push, but
there are 2 penalties. That's the Towson on the play.
Yeah, and they originally had said Jimmy Wilkerson, I think, on that second penalty. And instead, it was Kobe Smith who got him. They got the 3 and the 2 mixed up. So Kobe Smith goes to the box.
And they called him for unnecessary roughness. So that's they upgraded it from a push to an unnecessary roughness.
Gave him a nice little shove.
Not only did he push him, but it was not even a necessary push.
So Delaware 2 men up for a minute, and a save early by Canto. That's big.
Yeah, and he had one more look on that backside. You want to take the perfect shot when you have 2 men up.
You're going to cause turnover, a 2-on-1 for Delaware. Jake Govett finishes. Ty Kurtz to Govett. Delaware back up 1.
Great job on the ride, being able to get that ball back. Really hustling and selling out and diving, and then Jake Govett making no mistake, stepping into that dead center open spot and making sure he had the full cage to shoot at.
If you're an NLL fan, you may recognize the Govett name. His dad, Steve, the president of the San Diego Seals, having a great year as the first-year expansion franchise out there in San Diego. Big weekend for them coming up here.
Long-time executive at the Colorado Mammoth, one of the top programs in the NLL. They do such a nice job with their fan experience, always packed house, one of my favorite places to play.
That Govett's just second goal of the season, also scored against Towson in the regular season meeting. So something about this Tigers team brings
like
out
Tigers.
the best in Jake Govett. But it wipes off the penalty, so we're back to even strength for the Tigers. By the way, with that assist, Ty Kurtz becoming Delaware's freshman points record holder. Now 51 points on the season.
Is that Curtis Dixon he takes that from?
No, actually, Moses Marone and John McCloskey, both from the 1970s.
Okay.
That record's held for a little while. Here comes Sunday wrapping around, and the Tigers answer.
Charlie Kitchen and Brendon Sunday have a similar look and feel to them. Big physical dodgers, really like making one move and going hard and being able to get their shots off without being that wide open. And so nice job by Brendon Sunday. They catch Austin Haynes, and that's what I talk about. Austin Haynes is so athletic. Sometimes he, I think, extends a little too much, and there you saw he was looking to provide a little support from X, and then he had to get back and cover Brendon Sunday, and that's tough to jump over the goal, the back of the goal, and get back in defensive position. So he's doing a really great job on Sunday. I think he might want to stay a little closer to him and look to support a little bit less so he can make sure to dominate that matchup, especially as Brendon Sunday is already accounting for so many of their goals.
Joe Linkskold wins the faceoff, almost stolen away there by Luke Frommer, but Delaware gets the possession. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Towson can win without Brendon Sunday producing, but they are a far, far better team, and they are at their best when Sunday is at his best.
Well, and that's what's nice. They have a balanced offense, but he is a certain threat and a one-on-one weapon, and that's something that in that first game, we saw UMass didn't have that at the attack. They didn't have that one-on-one breakdown guy. So having that is so valuable, and we can see Delaware has utilized theirs with Charlie Kitchen and Brendon Sunday being that guy that can break down his man from Towson.
Bryce Reed swings it over to Dean Desimone.
It also forces you defensively to do some things you maybe don't want to. Like I said, Austin Haynes might have to play a little bit more conservative and help less.
Getting free, Canto comes out of the cage to make a hit. That's the old Scotty Rogers move.
Smart play there. You worry about him diving. We talked about it. If you think he's going to leave his feet, you meet him at the edge of that crease. He touches you, and that ball's going the other way. Or he's in the box.
Easy clear for Towson. There was a point this season where clearing was an adventure for the Tigers. They were one of the worst teams in the country in the clear toward the middle of the season at the end of the non-conference slate. Part of the reason for that 3-game slide as they entered CAA play, this team has been substantially better there and in the turnover department, and once they got into conference.
Well, and that's something that you can spend a lot of time in practice. I've always said I think it might be the easiest if you just everyone called into a conference call with earbuds. You just throw those in, call everyone into a conference call, and then the coach doesn't have to scream end to end. Just have everyone ask their questions kindly and politely.
McClain shot stopped by Deluca. And he gets a fresh 80 seconds for Towson. And when talking to Sean Nadalin throughout that process, he was just like, look, we just need to stop putting pressure on ourselves. And did it go? It did. Brody Mcclain's got a hat trick. Quickly from X, and he's got 31 on the year.
This ability to score from just above GLE is so hard to defend. You can't ask a ton more from a short stick defender covering someone back at X. He does a good job of pushing up and away. I guess the biggest thing is you got to continue forcing him out to the sideline so he can't wrap his hands around, but great job finishing in there.
Nice move there by McNallen to win the faceoff, get out of trouble, and the Tigers a chance to add to this lead. They have not led by more than one tonight, as we are under 2 minutes to go in the first half of our second CAA semifinal here in Amherst, Massachusetts. The winner of this one will move on to take on the Drexel Dragons, the 4 seed in this tournament, knocking off the host school and the top-seeded UMass Minutemen, ending their season. Greg, he's got time. Deluca goes down for the stop. 8 saves for Matt Deluca.
What a save there. Just facing down the barrel, 10 yards out, full speed shot, great save.
So with 50 seconds left, Delaware can hold for 1 here at the end of the half. This has been a real back and forth first half. Both teams have shown the ability to answer the other's call.
Kobe Smith's putting a lot of pressure out on Charlie Kitchen there, making it difficult for him to get the ball.
And a turnover. Here comes Mo Silla, the long stick midfielder. Kind of double clutched on that pass. Big ground ball along the sideline. And Sean Nadalin called a timeout for the Tigers. Let's see if they get it. And they do. That's a big possession saver with 16 seconds left.
Smart call there by Coach Nadalin. You got 16 seconds left, 1 timeout. That's a great time to use that heads-up play there and making sure the refs hear your voice, really getting in their ear.
You got to run there, screaming right at the right time, and they get it. Both these goalies have been really good throughout. We talked about Deluca with the 8 saves, Tyler Canto with 6 saves as well. Both these guys, 6'6", big bodies, but have shown the ability to go low and make the stops as well.
Yeah, they do a nice job of getting a nice wide base with their big legs and then making sure they explode to the ball. And if it's low, pinching those knees together, covering up that 5-hole with that stick. So both goalies do a really good job of using that space, or using their size to cover all that 6 feet with their feet, and then using their stick to make sure to close any other gaps up.
The crazy thing with Tyler Canto is we spoke to Sean Nadalin before that first game against Hopkins, and he had no idea who he was going to start. He had an inkling that maybe it would be Canto, but it was still up in the air. He was the 3rd guy on the depth chart back in the fall, but he has found a new life. He won the job in the spring, took over. He was stellar in that first game against Hopkins, had a great start to the year, had a couple of shaky games, and actually lost the job to Shane Brennan during that Hofstra game in the second half. But it was an open competition that week after Hofstra between Brennan and Canto won the job again, and he has been the starter since. Really an impressive story of how you can go from being the 3 guy on the depth chart to all of a sudden being a starter and the guy for a top 20 team.
Well, what a testament to the work that these guys put in and day out of practice and how that actually does matter. And, you know, sometimes I think players get discouraged when they get benched or when they feel like they're not going to be the starting guy. But if you keep grinding, you keep working and make your teammates better, then that's going to help your team, and eventually you'll get your spot, you'll get your shot, and then you can shine.
Brendon Sunday triggers, now 10 seconds left in the half. Winds and fires. A little worm burner, and the Tigers have a 2-goal lead.
Yet again, drive into the body, turn, roll, shoot, right out of that shot. So we talked about these goalies being so good at picking everything up low, but when you come out of that shot, or out of the roll with a shot, it's so much harder to pick up where your stick's going, how you're going to finish, because your feet aren't set. You can't watch the stick as it comes out. So great job by these Towson offensive players in rolling, shooting, and letting it go quickly, and Delaware was using that a little bit earlier in the game. 4
points in this first half for Brendon Sunday. He had 5 points against Delaware back in the regular season meeting. Face-off win by the Blue Hens, but the shot late from Finnegan goes wide and brings us to the end of the first half. A great way to close the half for Towson. They score 3 straight in order to take a 2-goal lead into the locker room.
After trading blows, 1 goal, it's been a story of runs. And Towson's had 2 more runs than Delaware has. They've had 2 3-goal runs, while Delaware's only had 2-goal runs. So that's where that gap is accounted for. But at 7-5, you don't feel terrible going to the locker room with either team.
No, this has been a hard-fought, solid game so far as we wait for head coach Sean Nadalin of Towson to come join us on the headset. It's the Tigers, the 2 seed in this tournament, looking to make it to the CAA championship game for a 5th straight season. And so we have head coach Sean Nadalin joining us on the headset. Coach Travis Eldridge, Mitch Belisle up here in the booth. What did you like on how you guys closed that first half?
I thought we did, obviously a decent job kind of getting back, to what we're capable of doing. I thought we played a little bit more aggressive, but also poised. I didn't like a lot about that first half, to be honest with you. I thought we were sloppy. I didn't think we were, really in sync offensively. We just weren't doing a good job moving the ball. I didn't think we were doing a great job defensively as well. So it's good to see us kind of make a little run there. It wasn't clean, but, it was good to see our guys respond that way.
The 10-man ride was obviously something you guys were preparing for. How much half-field shooting were you guys doing this week in preparation?
We do it every week. We've done it all season, every week, just to have those guys ready. A lot of teams will 10-man ride these days with the new clearing rules and stuff like that. So, Gray did a good job. And the second time, obviously, putting it on cage.
Long pole's dream. I know that'll make you smile. Coach, good luck in the second half.
Great. Thank you.
Coach Sean Nadalin and the Tigers with a 2-goal lead as we enter the break. Your score at the half, Brendon Sunday and the Tigers up 7-5 over Delaware. We'll be back for the second half, but for now we send you back into the LSN Broadcast Center.
This time Towson was ready with backup, ready to go. So have at it. Have at it. You got an open net. Just aim for the middle. It's 6 feet by 6 feet, 30.
Yeah, that was pretty incredible. That's one of the moments of the day, that half-field goal for Towson. They lead 7-5 at the half out at Garber Field in the second semifinal of the night. This is sort of a game of runs, over the first half, guys.
Yeah, it's been an interesting sort of mix so far. Neither team seems to be playing at their peak right now, so when that's happening, you sort of got to grind it out and just, make that next play, get that next ground ball, take a little extra steps, complete all the passes, and, Towson's done that a little bit better than Delaware thus far, and, the first thing we said when we talked about this game was the stars, right? We talk about Brendon Sunday for Towson. He certainly showed up for them.
And it seemed the things pick up a little bit more in the second quarter, right? I mean, after a pretty slow start to the first, the feeling out process might be over by now.
Yeah, definitely. And, those goals at the end of the half for Towson are huge going into the third quarter. They come out to a 2-goal lead right now instead of, being tied going into the half. And, we saw that half-field goal going in the highlight reel. And, I think that was a little bit of a momentum swing. They got a cheap one. It fired the boys up. And I think they really built off that.
Making him pay for the 10-man ride, as Travis said in the broadcast. Let's get to those first half highlights, shall we, out at Garber. And face-off X, something that we're all watching. That's Jack McNallen in there. Alex Woodall's dressed. Looks like he's ready to go. He has not gone in, but we'll get to how well McNallen's doing in just a second. 0-0 here in the first, and Clay Miller, the youngster, gets things started for the Blue Hens. Delaware takes a 1-0 lead early on in this one. Miller is pumped up out there at Garber tonight. Let's go later on in the first now. This time, it's Towson on the attack. Brendon Sunday, you just heard Davey say his name, and he's going to put his name in the scorebook there with a couple defenders on him. Tied 1-1 early on in this game. Let's go to the second quarter, shall we? It's Charlie Kitchen, another big name, and this one is beauty. Turns, fires, and scores. No celebration, acting like he's been there before. I appreciate it. Delaware taking a 3-1 lead as they take a 2-goal lead, but Towson comes all the way back to tie it as they come back. It's Sunday, working from X. finding Brody Mcclain right there on the doorstep. The quick stick is good. Towson takes a 4-3 lead. There is a guy down, but I think he'd be okay. Later on, Towson still up 1 in the second. Delaware in transition. Ty Kurtz ends up with the ball and finds Charlie Kitchen there streaking and scoring. It's tied 4-4. As I said, a game of runs, and Towson did go on that run late in that half, scoring a few goals to end the second quarter there. So let's get you that box score right now. As we speak, it is 7-5. Towson with the lead over Delaware. Mcclain and Sunday each with hat tricks in that first half. Kitchen had a couple goals as well for the Blue Hens. And let's get a little bit deeper into the stats now, because I mentioned the face-off. That's what I really wanted to get to here. Yeah, Jack McNallen is playing quite well. He's won 10 of the 14 face-offs. So we talked about Alex Woodall all day long and how he might impact this game. But McNallen, who didn't particularly do that well a couple weeks ago, really stepping up. Saves pretty similar for Canto and Deluca there on both sides of things. So I think what stuck out to me is really McNallen. And we talked about at the X, face-off wise, guys, and the impact he's made in stepping up. I mean, that's next man up mentality, right?
Yeah, you know, it absolutely is. And anytime you're going to lose a guy like Woodall, who's been such a staple for you, there's going to be adjustments. But I think Coach Nadler will be extremely happy to see that statistic there. And you're absolutely right. The next man up wins. And I think what Towson did a really good job of is not making everything about the face-off, right? They understood that it's still a three-man play, right? We can get our wings in there. We can muck it up. We can make it a ground ball. We're really just trying to get possessions. And then it starts about what do we do with those possessions. And I think you hear Coach Nadler talk about not being happy with a lot of things in that first half, but you saw the fight and the grit there and the Tigers that they have coming back, putting in 2 important goals in the end of the second half. And again, like I said, not really focusing too much on the center, not making everything about the X, but just playing their game and trying to be as productive as possible.
Yeah, because it seemed like they almost had to adjust a little bit to the way McNallen wins the faceoff as opposed to Woodall, Danny, right?
Yeah, you know, we were talking about this a little bit before. Woodall, you know, he can be a one-man show, right? He puts the ball where he wants. He can win it forward, create offense, start that break, or take it in. We've seen him score a bunch this year himself. And, you know, like Davey touched upon, you know, Towson's making it a 3-man face-off game. You know, McNallen's doing a great job using his wings, right? If he doesn't win it clean, he's been batting it kind of to his wings, hockey style. So, you know, it's an unbelievable adjustment by Towson. You know, they're not as used to kind of mucking it up, but they've been doing a great job securing those possessions. You know, anytime you're up 10-4 on face-offs, you put your team in a good position to win that game.
You know, and Davey, we're seeing a lot of highlights here. Brendon Sunday, Davey just mentioned to me before we go on air, he's playing really well. What's making him so good today?
He is playing well, and he's the one we keyed on before this game started, saying that he really stirs the drink for Towson. And I think the way that he's scoring is really what's making that big impact. Obviously, 3 goals and assists is huge, but he's done it from different parts of the field. His first goal came turning from X. He had one on the righty wing, and then his last goal there, he just squared up his defender and took him from the left wing, got into his body, turns, low-to-low burner there. So he's demonstrating his offensive arsenal, and he can score in a lot of ways. And as a defense, right, you don't know really when you can slide to him. He's attacking from all different areas, so you can't really set everything up. Makes it really, really tough to communicate and talk through all that. So Brendon Sunday's doing even more than just those 3 goals and 1 assist, I think.
What's the feeling in the locker room right now on both sides? Because it's a close game, so I'm feeling like it might be a similar mood, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's cliche, but you got to come out 0-0 mentality. You know, if you're Towson, you can't be comfortable with just a 2-goal lead. And you know, Delaware, it's 1 at a time, chip away. 2 goals in Lacrosse is nothing, right? We talk about all the time. It's a game of runs. So, like I said, you know, 0-0 mentality. It's a fresh slate right now, and both teams want to be the first one on the score sheet, and it's really going to change the momentum of this game. Whether Towson's going to go up 3 or Delaware is going to make it a 1-goal game.
We talked about the end and start of quarters last game so much with the Drexel, and we saw how much of an impact that made. It seems like that's going to make another big impact here, right?
Yeah, and I don't think either team is too particularly happy with their first half. So really, I think you wipe the entire slate clean here and say, hey, listen, we have 2 quarters to go play our game. Let's leave these people here with an impression about what our program's all about.
Any adjustments you guys see for the second half for either of these teams? Anything different? I mean, obviously they're going to make their adjustments, just try to play better. Maybe be more crisp, right? I feel like that's kind of the feeling on both sides.
Yeah, definitely. Just, you know, clean it up, value the ball, value those possessions, right? You know, we talked about how, you know, Coach Nadler wasn't too happy with the way his team played the first half. Probably, you know, the only coaches that are happy right now are the goalie coaches. You know, they're playing unbelievable. So, I think, like we just said, clean it up a little bit, value the ball, and really try to work for those good shots.
All right, let's take a look really quickly at the score from the earlier game, as we'll touch on that just briefly here, with Drexel beating UMass 15-12. If you're Drexel watching this game, is there someone you want to play more, or is there something you're looking for in particular?
I don't think so. I think, as a coach, you want to talk to your team about just focusing on ourselves, right? That's control what you can control. We can't watch these two teams.
But as a player, Davey, you can't go coach speak on me. As a player, are you thinking
I
it's a little ugly?
I think as a player, that might slip in your mind.
Okay, thank you for admitting it.
But I think when you're even having a conversation with anybody else, you're saying, oh, we're just worried about ourselves.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I think that the Drexel Dragons would rather play Delaware, just because of the face-off differential, right? When I was playing at Villanova, we always hated running into Denver, running into Trevor Baptiste, because we knew we'd have to really deal with, being at a face-off deficit all game. So I think that, if you want to pick a side, pick a team, if you're the Drexel Dragons, you do want to pick Delaware just to kind of, take the face-off aspect out of the game.
All right, guys, thanks so much. We'll see what happens here in the second half. And, of course, we'll be right here after the game to break it all down and give you a championship preview, of course, here. Lacrosse now coming up after the game. For Danny and Davey, I'm Tom. Let's head back out to Travis and Mitch at Garber Field in Amherst.
The lights are on for the nightcap of the CAA semifinals between Delaware and Towson. The Tigers with a 2-goal lead at the break. We now welcome on head coach of the Delaware Blue Hens, Ben Deluca. Coach, Towson able to go on that run at the end of the first half. What did you notice, and what kind of adjustments do you make in the second?
Well, one thing I noticed is they had the ball a lot. The face-off discrepancy is big, and we knew it would be. So their possession has been extended. We've had to play a lot of defense, and they've put a lot of pressure on our defense and our goalie. Sunday's been outstanding, and Mcclain has been outstanding as well. So we're going to make a few adjustments to see if we can defend a little bit better and get the ball to our offense and allow them to find a rhythm.
And speaking of that, they seem to pressure Charlie Kitchen here a little bit more in the second quarter. Are you trying to get him the ball more, or are you going to try to ask a little bit more from the midfielders?
Yeah, no, I think we would like to get him the ball. I think they're shutting him off. They're using Smith to deny him the ball and shut him off, and we're going to do our best to try and get the ball in his stick a little bit here in the second half, and also allow our offense to utilize the spacing that's been created because they're denying him the ball. So we've got a couple things that we're going to see hopefully will work here in the second half.
Coach, good luck. Thanks.
Thank you so much, guys.
Coach Ben Deluca in his second season with the Blue Hens. We take a look at the first half highlights. Matt Deluca, not related to Ben, had a really good first half.
Yeah, he made some big saves, and Towson went on a bit of a run, but you can't blame Matt Deluca for those. He was making some huge saves that kept him in it early and allowed them to build up a little bit of a lead early that Towson was then able to chip away.
On the Tigers side of things, the known guy on the attack unit is Brendon Sunday, and when he's on, this team is clicking. He had 3 goals and an assist. He was solid.
Yeah, he's doing a nice job of really dodging for his own. Ultimately, as long as they do a good job of sending slides, that might be able to tame that a little bit, but he's doing a really nice job of finding his own looks.
Coach Sean Nadelin not overly thrilled with the first half performance when we talked to him going into halftime, but when you're up by 2 at the half, you have to take it. A spot in the CAA championship on the line opposite Drexel on Saturday. Travis Eldridge and Mitch Belisle back with you here on Lac Sports Network, the second of 2 CAA semifinals. As I mentioned, the winner of this will take on the 4-seed Drexel Dragons in Saturday's championship game. Drexel knocking off the top seed UMass in game 1. And an early face-off win here for Jack McNallen. If you weren't with us in the first half, Alex Woodall, the All-American face-off man for Towson, is active today. He is available. However, he has not seen any time as he missed last week out with an upper body injury, an injury he suffered during that game against Delaware a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, kind of an awkward hit. He just passed the ball off, and I couldn't tell if a shoulder came up or if he got hit high, but just fell awkwardly and hasn't been in since then. But he gave us a big thumbs up and a smile when we saw him before the game, so maybe they're just being extra safe, and with a 10-for-14 lead on faceoffs, that's probably a smart move.
Wrapping around, Luke Frommer just off. Sunday and Mcclain carrying most of the offensive load for the Tigers in the first half. Mcclain with a hat trick, Sunday with the 4 points. Here's Timmy Monahan, gets on the crease, and he squeezes one in.
And Towson, the individual effort is what's getting it done for them. And we heard Coach Deluca say he's going to try some different things. I think sliding a little bit early might be something they might want to try because they haven't gotten a ton of assisted goals. It's all been unassisted goals. So why not try to send the slide early, dare them to make complete passes? But a really nice job there by Monahan, and just finds the only seam he can. I thought Deluca had that frontside pipe pretty well covered. He might have just snuck it under his stick on that far side pipe.
Timmy Monahan's 21st goal of the season. As we mentioned in the first half, coming off a career day with 4 goals against Drexel last week in the win. Another face-off win for McNallen. And another offensive set for Towson, now with their largest lead of the game at 3.
And you could hear a little frustration in Coach Deluca's voice. He said, we knew we were going to be in this boat at the face-off X. They've struggled there without their top guy, so it's certainly been an all hands on deck kind of win by committee for them. But right now they haven't been able to get those wins. Really great job by McClain of controlling the ball, not making it a 3v3 scrap.
Here's Jake McClain, the midfielder, feeds in front, backhand shovel shot just off from Brody Mcclain. That McClain duo, not related, but has been quite a combination this year. We got a flag down as Luke Frommer was pushed into the crease.
And because he went in the crease, they blew the play dead. He was pushed into the crease, so that's going to be an interference call there.
They get the call on Zach Strassner.
Yeah, that's one of those where you're playing aggressively off ball. You're trying to make sure that the guys can't cut, but a little bit too much. And in fact, that, you know what, that might have been a little bit of a jump into the crease there.
Maybe a little sell job there for Luke Frommer. Looking for an acting career after his playing career is over. The redshirt sophomore from Stevensville, Maryland. Wrapped around, and there's Frommer. However he got the penalty, he cashes in. Man up goal, Tigers up 4.
He's going for the EGOT, the Emmy, the goal, the Oscar.
Brendon Sunday gets the assist. He's already got 6 points tonight. Just a simple shot and a score. Beats Deluca on the man up. And Jack McNallen continues to dominate at the X. Alex Woodall who?
And they tried Austin Haynes up there with the long pole, try to at least make it a bit of a scrap. But again, doing such a good job of actually controlling the ball. Not just winning it out, but controlling it, using his body to protect it, and then flipping it or passing it back to a teammate. So this is where, if you're Delaware, you got to really ask your attackmen to work extra hard to cover 4 down low. They got to cover the goalie and the other 3 defensemen, but got to throw some different looks at them and make it difficult. Maybe try covering Tyler Canto and leaving the furthest defenseman away. Make that tough pass for face-off man.
McNallen did go 60%, 14 of 23 in the first meeting with Delaware, but he's been even better tonight so far. You have to think, in his mind, he probably knew, all right, I'm going to get most of the face-off, something he didn't know the first time he played the Blue Hens.
Right, when we talk about being the next man up. All the way to the back. He just worked really hard to get himself open. A little frustrated he didn't get the ball.
Dean Desimone, a little shimmy shake. We can't shake Zach Goodrich, the All-American short stick, and a turnover.
Great play there by Kobe Smith, getting in the gloves and just a tiny little poke is all it takes. Move the stick of Charlie Kitchen. That ball goes out of bounds. So great job there. I think Charlie Kitchen's frustrated because he had worked really hard a couple passes before to get open and wasn't passed to. And he tried it again and probably wasn't as open there. But this is where the other option you have is, if you're getting shut, is use that. One, bring him to the middle and make that guy the slide guy so you don't have a crease slide. The other option is go set picks with him, right? Use picks and either they are forced to switch and maybe gets a short stick matchup, or they don't side off that and you get a look off it. Something that Jeff Teat has had to face quite a bit, Cornell guy, and you know, different players throughout the.
Brody Mcclain gets a little screen from Luke Frommert. He taps up his buddy, and he's got a 4-pack.
Just good ball movement. Delaware needs to do a better job of closing out and understanding how tight in they are. You can see helping in, making sure that they're covering up the crease. Now they got to do a great job working their way back out. That was our own Grant. He's helping out on the inside, which is great, but he's got to get back to his man to extend out and make that a difficult shot.
Brody Mcclain had a couple of points last week versus Drexel. He's got 4 goals tonight. Guy who transferred into this program from Stony Brook, didn't play there as a freshman, and Towson certainly glad he did now in his junior season, coming out of Bolton, Ontario. Seen so much Canadian influence tonight for all 4 of these teams.
Yeah, and that's something that these coaches are all trying to find their pipelines, and talk to Coach Volker about that BC connection, Marshall King.
Yeah.
But each of them have their pockets of areas of influence, and especially if you get a player in who has a great experience, he goes home and tells his buddies, and you can get a couple of those guys. It's great.
Frommert trying to spin toward the crease to get free. Instead, he goes behind. Maloof, a tough angle there. Couldn't get it quite on frame. Still 37 seconds on the shot clock as that hit the side of the cage.
Delaware with a long history of very good Canadians.
Yeah.
John Grant Jr., Sean Evans.
Curtis Dixon,
Jordan Hall.
all the way through to Monahan. Right place, right time. Timmy Monahan's got a pair. And we got a timeout. The Blue Hens sensing that they need to slow things down because the Tigers are clicking. We'll be back here on.
Hey everybody, Tom Ashton here in the LSN studios. It's time for the Men's Player of the Year watch, what we've been watching all year. It being the final weekend before the NCAA tournament, today we unveil the finalists, and they are Grant Ament, Pat Spencer, T.D. Erlin. Ament leading the nation in points per game, the only player to average more than 7 per contest. Spencer, 3rd in the country in that same statistic, at 93 points total heading into this weekend. And T.D. Erlin, whose .794 face-off winning percentages has him on the verge of breaking his own record he set last season. Ament had 7 assists in Penn State's win over Rutgers last weekend, the 6th time he's had 7 or more assists in a game. Spencer had 3 assists against Lafayette, and Erlin set the NCAA single-game record for face-offs, going 26 for 26 against Harvard last weekend. He also scored a goal on top of that as well. So Grant Ament, Pat Spencer, T.D. Erlin are our Player of the Year watch finalists. That's all from the studio. Let's get you back out to the game.
Travis Eldridge and Mitch Belisle back with you here on Lax Sports Network. Early on in this second half, it has been all Towson. They've now scored 7 straight goals. They took a 2-goal lead into the half, and they've extended it now to their largest the game of 6, up 11-5, and just everything working for them. The possession advantage has been huge in this second half so far, Mitch, and it has equaled a lot of great opportunities.
Yeah, they're winning the face-off, coming down, and then capitalizing at the end. And then I guess the nice part, if you're Towson, is it hasn't been traditional goals like they were scoring early. It's been broken plays or moving the ball around and just stepping in, taking shots. So Coach Deluca, what is he saying to his team? He's saying, look, we just got to stay the course, but we got to get out in guys' hands, and we got to make sure any balls that hit the ground we're at least getting a piece of and making those 50-50 ground balls.
Another face-off win for Jack McNallen. He is really feeling it for the Tigers.
And that ties a career high for McNallen on face-off wins.
Now up to 15 on the night. Of course, coming in for the injured Alex Woodall. We're told he was available tonight, but not having seen the field yet. He is on the sideline for Towson. This is Grant Maloof. Back over to Sunday, scored that last goal. He's got a pair tonight. Maloof down low. I don't know what he was doing there, but he drills a flag.
Yeah, I think he thought someone was going to zig when they zagged. He passed that ball right to Ben Deluca, and that's a tough
Matt
one.
Deluca.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, this is a tough break for Delaware.
Delaware's got to stay disciplined there. They finally get a stop, and then they get a penalty here at the end. They're locking that in, saying that was in the head.
Yeah, Wade Orsler gets called, the sophomore from Luthersville, Maryland. And so another man-up opportunity for Towson. Monahan, Maloof, Brody Mcclain, all in there. As is Tim Montgomery. Step down, shot to the top shelf. It's Maloof with his first of the night. Grant Maloof had 5 goals, a career best in the regular season meeting against the Blue Hens. He's got one tonight as well.
And that was a rocket. Pulls it short side, and this is really all that Towson's had to do these last 3 or 4 goals is step in, set their feet, and let it fly. So Matt Deluca is a phenomenal goalie, but when staring down 10-yard shots with plenty of time to pick their spots, that's going to be tough for any goalie.
Making 8 straight goals for the Tigers. And they have taken control of the second semifinal here in Amherst.
That's their second violation, I believe, at the face-off X. So next one, and that's going to be a penalty.
Now 16 face-off wins for Jack McNallen. And it's an unreleasable penalty, so the man-up continues for Towson in another 33 seconds. Monahan fires just off. Deluca is just kind of staring down the barrel here at some rockets. Mcclain back out top to Maloof. He wants another, just high.
I thought one thing that Drexel did really well in the first game was in the man-up, they really extended out to get in a shooter's hands, and that's something that Delaware's got to do.
Frommer dips and dunks, making 9 in a row for Towson.
And this is such a killer, because this penalty didn't have to happen. This was after the play. It's unreleasable, so this is 2 goals on this man up. You know you're not winning face-off, so you're not going to get the ball back after these goals. So that's a really, really painful penalty that instead of helping Delaware get out of the hole with a big defensive stop, they just got a little bit deeper.
Luke Frommer, second of the night. And Jack McNallen continues to dominate the face-off X, entering this face-off at 80% this evening. And that percentage going up. Now 17 of 21. We knew coming in that was an Achilles heel for Delaware. We saw it last week as well when they came here to UMass and couldn't quite complete the comeback in the fourth quarter, falling short. Here's Jake Mcclain. Back to Frommer. Redshirt sophomore attackman spins free, and plenty of time for Towson to take their time and get a good look. Down low, Mcclain off the bar. That's a fresh 80 seconds for Towson as well. I think Delaware's had, what, one offensive set in this second half so far?
Yeah, and they threw the ball away trying to get it to Charlie Kitchen, so they certainly want to get their offense a couple touches here if they want to hope to get back in this.
Drew Laundrie shot is saved. Deluca makes a much-needed stop, and Delaware finally gets the ball back.
Towson getting a couple different looks on the midfield, which is nice if they do move on to the next game. Getting a rest for their top line guys, it certainly helps, especially if you can get those rests early so you don't feel like you're waiting till the very end to give them a little break.
Been pretty much an entire quarter since Delaware has scored. Step down shot deflected as it went on frame from Bryce Reed.
And that was a great look, good ball movement there by Delaware. That's what they need to keep doing.
Here's Kitchen battling Kobe Smith. A couple of all-CAA first teamers battling here. And he dishes it away.
And this is where Delaware's off ball, they have to move for Charlie Kitchen. They can't rely on him beating his man every time. They're so dangerous when they cut off ball because Charlie Kitchen does such a nice job of dodging with his head up.
Down to 20 seconds on the shot clock for Clay Miller. And he draws a flag. So man upcoming, Miller just wheels one. And we will get the penalty. It looks like a 30-second hold.
Some fans not too happy with that call. Inviting the ref to the rec council game tomorrow.
Jimmy Wilkerson goes to the box, gets a little discussion from Sean Nadalin as well.
Looked like Wilkerson, I think he slipped by a step and then was trying to get back in position and may have pulled him back with his stick a little bit. So that's one of those where you're just trying to get yourself back in position and overcommit a little bit.
And this is a must-have if you're Delaware. Isley to Kurtz. They play pitch and catch at the top. Isley just a little wide of Canto. 12 seconds left on the man up.
The name we haven't said much is Desimone. He's such a big part of their offense. Ooh.
Isley, the bounce shot, did it go in?
They're saying
it did.
Hit the crossbar and bounced behind the line. Based on the angle that it bounced out, that would not surprise me.
Get another look at it as Joe Isley's got his first.
I couldn't see it in full speed, but it certainly bounced out like it had a lot of backspin on it, which traditionally you hit off the crossbar and then bounce out. That's coming from behind the line.
Let's see if we can get another look at that one. Yeah, it definitely looked like it found a way past that line. And so it's a goal number 31 on the season for Joe Isley. A man-up tally, but right back to the faceoff X, and another win for McNallen. Goes all the way through, stopped by Deluca. McNallen did have a pair of goals last week in the win over Drexel. They were huge goals in the fourth quarter, but he stopped there by the big man in goal for the Blue Hens.
And that's what it's going to take. They're going to have to start stringing together stops and then goals on the other end to chip away at this big lead that Towson's built up.
And that's the pressure that not winning faceoffs puts on your defense. You get into a deficit by 3 or 4 goals, you can't bank on the make it, take it. You've got to go back on defense, play maybe a settled set, cause a turnover, do something. And it's tough to ask your defense to do that for 3, 4, 5 possessions in a row.
Oh, absolutely. So that's where you got to manufacture turnovers by being a little bit more pressure-oriented in the middle of the field, or by doing everything you can to make those face-offs a 50-50 battle. And even if that means losing it, but then immediately doubling the ball or trying to make a turnover happen in the back end.
Kitchen skips it back to Finnegan. Down low, Isley! And one! Joe Isley's got back-to-back goals for Delaware.
What patience there by Isley. He waited the half second to get his hands free. He got pushed, and then he reached around and popped that thing in. Really nice look inside. He kind of double clutches, gives a little fake, pulls it back, and then throws it and also draws the flag.
So let's see what the call is after Isley finishes. Got a 1-minute penalty.
And they're giving this ball to him. They're going to say this happened after the play, so it's a dead ball foul, which means there's no face-off, and Delaware will start with the ball. So no face-off. That's good news if you're a Delaware fan.
Terrific news for Delaware.
We should do this more often. We should take dead ball penalties more often.
So they start with it. Ty Kurtz triggers at the top. 1 minute extra man for the Blue Hens. Deflection. Kobe Smith. His stick is everywhere. And the All-American candidate is able to try to kill this penalty. Once again, able to go back over the midfield line because it was within the first 20 seconds of the shot clock, and he gets it to Zach Goodrich, and now Grant Maloof, and they can run the final 30 seconds off. We saw it with Isaac Paparo of UMass in the first game, and Kobe Smith, such active sticks defensively.
Yeah, and that's such a big important piece of it. You see that. They're man down, and he's still able to extend out with one hand on a stick and knock that down, and then especially if you're able to pick up those ground balls and transition them up, that's a great way to kill a penalty. The other thing is those skip passes are so dangerous on offense. If you can skip the ball from one side of the field all the way to the other, that's tough for a goalie to get over there, and it's tough because your whole slide package is predicated on keeping the ball in one half of the field.
And so we're back to even strength as Towson kills the penalty. Here's Jake Mcclain lining up a dodge. Just one assist on the night for Jake, the junior from California. Rolls all the way around. See who the backup goes to. Towson wins it. Austin Haynes may have had a nice argument for it.
I thought he did a nice job of hustling, but I guess when the ball went out, maybe Towson was a step ahead.
Shot clock violation anyway, so Towson sends it to the other corner, and Delaware gets the ball back, a much-needed stop.
Yeah, and if you can build a couple of those together, put this thing within reach, then you head into the fourth quarter feeling like, okay, we got a shot at this. Might have to be a little bit more aggressive, but we got a shot.
Winner of this one in the second CAA semifinal will take on Drexel in Saturday's championship game. The 4-seeded Dragons taking down UMass, the top seed and the host in this tournament. Championship game coming your way 1 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday. You can see it right here on Lac Sports Network. Mitch and I will be back with you. Winds and fires, Dean Desimone.
And that is something that I've seen time and time again from that Delaware offense, is drawing the defense down low and then banging it back up top to Dean Desimone, who is an absolute sniper from that top center set. So they have him playing on the low base on EMO, which I was a little surprised at because I've seen him score so many goals just like that, where they skip it through back to the backside and he steps down and hammers it home.
Dean Desimone, a guy who's a terrific athlete. He actually took a year off in 2017 from the lacrosse program, decided he was going to play club hockey because he played club hockey. He played hockey in Syracuse, New York growing up, and so he went to play club hockey for a season, and then last year came back onto the lacrosse team, a two-sport star.
And that was actually a story I was going to bring up earlier. I saw Brett Manny last time I was down in Delaware, and he said that the culture that Coach Deluca has embodied here was part of what brought Dean Desimone back. Is his teammates were like, you got to come back. It's so much fun. We're working so hard, and this is really the program that you want to be part of. And so he did, and he's been such a big part of their offense. So exciting to hear that for both the team and Coach Deluca and also Dean Desimone. The hockey team might have been a little disappointed.
Yeah, he's a good athlete. Had a great game against Towson in the regular season, Desimone, with 4 goals. About 30 seconds left in this third. Towson up by 5, looking to close things out in Delaware. Looking to close out this third quarter with at least a 5-goal lead, a chance to hold for 1 here. The midfielder Monahan working at X. Gets his hands free! Top shelf for Timmy Monahan. It's where you keep the good stuff. He's got 3.
And that's back to the bread and butter that was working so well in that first half, is just dodging physically, continuing to run upfield, and then taking that extra step to turn and shoot. Again, I would like to see Delaware send a slide a little bit earlier. They haven't really slid and supported. The couple goals where they did slide and the ball got through, it was off of broken plays where it bounced to rebound. So I want to see them send that slide right away and try to make Towson have to move the ball quickly.
Another face-off win won by McNallen, and a chance to end this third quarter. One more shot from Mcclain, just wide, but Towson with all the momentum as they enter the fourth. Tigers going into the final frame with a 6-goal lead, looking to go back to the CAA championship game for the 5th straight season. Luke Frommert has got a pair. The Tigers, 15 minutes from Saturday's title.
The game of runs continues as we head to the fourth quarter. Everybody, Tom Eschen here in the LSN studios. Wild night in the CAA tournament as the 1 seed's going home, and not too far away, UMass. They're going home packing. But let's take a look around the country now of other tournaments going on. Johns Hopkins actually just scored another goal, so they lead Maryland 10-7 with about 4 minutes to play in that game, looking to beat Maryland for the 2nd straight week. Meanwhile, Penn State all over Rutgers, 18-6. The final there. Look at that live update there for you. 10-7. They're late in the fourth. Let's head out to the Big East now. Villanova, that's the women's score, taking on Denver. Denver beating them 15-5. That's the women's game. On the bottom is the men's game. Georgetown coming back to rally against Providence, 13-12, the final there, as the Denver and Villanova are playing right now as we speak. How about the America East? Let's head out there now. Vermont taking down Albany 13-9. Huge result out there, and right now UMBC all over Stony Brook 13-4. Those are 2 men's scores there in the fourth quarter. Stony Brook, the host, struggling there. Of course, we'll have all those scores updated and some highlights as well, and some reaction. Of course, Lacrosse now after the game right here on Lax Sports Network and LSN.com and on the app, of course, as always. But for now, let's head back out to Amherst to get the fourth quarter with Travis and Mitch.
Townsend's got a couple of McClains on their roster. Brody has been a standout tonight. 4 goals in all as we take a look at what his evening has been like. And he's a guy who can stretch the defense. He can go down low. He's shown a little bit of everything so far.
Yeah, and he's such a multiple, diverse threat. And like we talked about, them having so many different options. You see him on the back door there. Them having so many options for individual dodgers that can beat their man one-on-one, but also guys that can work hard off ball and, like you said, stretch that defense with those outside shots. That makes a huge difference, and it really forces the Delaware defense into uncomfortable spots where they move in and out and don't really get comfortable at any point.
The good news for Towson, they are 8-0 when he has 3 or more points. He's got 4 tonight, so if you put 2 and 2 together, they should win. They should be able to close this one out in the final 15 minutes. The other thing that will help is if Jack McNallen continues to win faceoffs at this rate. Now 21 of 25 at the X. That's a new career best for faceoff wins for the junior from Amherst, New Hampshire.
The other big stat that jumps out, and that has a lot to do with the faceoffs, is the ground ball stat. 32-14. They're dominating the ground ball matchup. A lot of those are coming at the faceoff X, but at the same time, Towson needs to find a way to pick up the ball and get it out of their own end.
Frommert stopped by Deluca, but he gets his own rebound. And it's a fresh 80 seconds for the Tigers. This is the theme of the third quarter. Towson dominating possession and getting a lot of extra opportunities. See him out shooting Delaware at the moment. The Tigers under 15 minutes from Saturday's CAA championship game, looking to make their 5th straight trip to the CAA title. As you got a turnover there.
And down by 6. This is where Towson is going to have to start putting some pressure out there. And I do think...
You mean Delaware?
I'm sorry, Delaware is going to have to start putting some pressure defensively. And I do think they want to start sending slides right away. As soon as they see a man going one-on-one, send that slide, try to get a double, and stay on that double for a second. At this point, you really don't have that much to lose. Being down by 6, you're going to have to score a couple goals a minute, or a goal every 2 minutes or so. So they need to be a little bit more aggressive defensively, and now on these offensive possessions, be very efficient.
Blue Hens making their second straight trip to the CAA tournament. Also lost to Towson in this semifinal last year, an overtime loss. Matt Severo of the Tigers scoring the OT game winner.
Towson's dropped into a zone here.
Another great stick play by Kobe Smith. Causes the turnover, and here comes Kobe. He's dragged down. Towson sideline wants a flag. They're not going to get it. Kobe Smith wanted more points. He's got 10 on the year. And that's going to be an over and back, isn't it? Yeah,
just barely.
59 seconds left there on the shot clock.
And Towson had dropped into a zone on that last possession, so trying to give a different look, maybe put a little fear into Coach Volker and Drexel, saying, hey, we'll run to the zone every now and then, or maybe just get a little practice running it in case they see it.
Also takes up a little bit more time, am I right, in terms of trying to beat a zone?
Well, absolutely. And when you have a guy like Tyler Cantor, you feel good about, now Delaware has to put something new in, think a little bit more about what they're doing, and so that puts a little bit more pressure on them.
Winds and fires there from Isley, backed up by Charlie Kitchen.
But yeah, like you said, the way to beat a zone, you got to use quick ball movement and get the defense rotating. So that takes time. You got to stretch them out. You got to make them think you're going to shoot, step in, make passes. So certainly takes a little bit more time off the clock each time you do those.
Kitchen trying to create, swings back out to Isley. Canto goes down and makes a stop. 8 saves of the night for Tyler Canto.
He's been very solid, making some huge saves when he needs to.
Drew Laundrie brings it into the box for Towson. He's going to take his time. Up by 6, under 12 minutes to go. Travis Eldridge, Mitch Belisle with you here on Lac Sports Network. Fourth quarter of game number 2 of our CAA semifinal coverage. Amherst, Massachusetts, Garber Field, the site. A little cool, some rain throughout the evening, but otherwise pretty good night for lacrosse here.
Yeah, in terms of playing weather, I said this is about as good as it gets. You don't get too hot. As long as you're not a guy on the sideline, then you might get a little chilly.
Yeah.
But if you're out there on the field, this is about as good as it gets in terms of staying warm, staying loose, but not overheating.
Brendon Sunday to Frommert on the doorstep. And one. We got a flag down as well. As easy as it gets for Luke Frommert.
And I talked about getting that early slide, and it looks like they did actually send that early slide. The only problem is there was no one on the backside to help him out. So Austin Haynes went and slid, did a nice job there, but he's got to pull a 2 down, and getting down that backside all the way to the back pipe, that's probably the most difficult slide in lacrosse. You got to get a midfielder who's concerned with covering someone all the way at the top, all the way to the bottom of the defensive spots, and that can be a challenge.
The senior Austin Haynes getting the slash, first team all-CAA player. So he goes to the box for a minute, and a man-up face-off for Towson. Not that Jack McNallen's needed it. He has been stellar tonight. Wins it back to his own wing. Zach Goodrich will bring it over for another possession and a man-up opportunity for the Tigers.
And talk about the confidence this gives Towson heading in if they're lucky enough to make the NCAA tournament. It's like we got the #1 pick in the MLL as our first face-off guy, and our second face-off guy is winning 85 to 90% of his face-offs in the CAA semifinals. So, and contributing goals in the game before that. So really good embarrassment of riches there to have at the face-off X.
Yeah, always good to have more than one guy, as Delaware has unfortunately had to learn this year and having to try to scrap together pieces with Jay Curvada out for almost the entire season with a broken wrist. Still 20 seconds on the man up for Towson. That one rung off a helmet.
There's stickers still flying off his helmet after that shot hit him in the head.
Sunday comes down with it. Gets it back to Monahan with 8 seconds on the extra man. Down low, Frommert again! Frommert's got 4. Five assists now on the night for Brendon Sunday. He's got 8 points. Frommert with 4 goals. This Towson offense has it clicking tonight. Ties a career high for Luke Frommert with 4 goals. Did so against Fairfield tonight where he had 5 points. An afternoon where he had 5 points.
Stevensville, Maryland, out on the Eastern Shore. More and more players coming from the Eastern Shore of Maryland. Some of those programs getting stronger and stronger. Kent Island and Queen Anne's and some of those other programs that traditionally, when I was growing up in Severna Park, there was not even lacrosse out there, but now more and more people have been going across the Bay Bridge and settling in, and lacrosse has been getting better and better.
And a face-off violation for Delaware. That's number 3. So another man up for Towson. 32nd man-up opportunity. They're 4 for 5 on the night on the extra man. Brody Mcclain, Grant Maloof in there. Swings over to Monahan off the bar. Fresh shot clock, but 5 seconds left on the 32nd extra man.
That left Garber Stadium, that is still going up.
Hopefully he didn't find anybody's cars. I drove behind.
We're parked on the other side.
Yeah, I thought about it and I said, you know what? This is danger area for my car. Back to even strength. Wrapping around, Frommert wanted another save from Deluca. He's been peppered, now up to 14 saves.
And Coach Nadalin talked a lot in our call before this game about getting the ball through X, and I think they've done a great job of that, of being patient, not forcing things. Guys are winning their one-on-one matchups, but when they're not, they're doing a really great job of continuing to move the ball around to the backside, and that's really why I think Towson has been able to have so much success. They just seem very poised on their offense, and that's why they're chipping away, and at the end of each of these possessions, they're getting great looks that are often resulting in goals.
Got Andrew Beecham in there, number 17 in the throwback yellow jerseys for Towson. He hasn't seen a lot of time in the last couple of weeks, but getting some run here, but it's a caused turnover. Nice play by Alex Brunner. Quickly the other way. Finnegan, step down, stripped. And quickly the other way, here comes Gray Bowden. He does have a goal tonight from a lot further away than that, but smartly sends it, oh, it's a turnover.
Frommert, you could see Frommert telling, slow it down, slow it down. Bowden was like, no way, I'm going.
So Delaware goes back to work. Under 8 minutes to go, midway point of this 4th quarter. It has been all Towson in the second half. This was a 7-5 game at the break. Tigers went on a 3-goal run at the end of the first half to take that 2-goal lead. They have outscored Delaware 9-3 in the second half.
And 7-3 in the third quarter. And that was really, they came out right away with 6 straight goals out of that half, and that's exactly what Coach Deluca and the Blue Hens did not want.
Back door! Isley with his hat trick.
Nice little feed there by Charlie Kitchen, making it easy for Isley to just dunk that in, and that's what they've been missing, are these dunks on the nice dodge, draw that slide, move off ball, little overhead feed. Nice work by Isaac to put it away.
Joe Isley, a guy after my heart. He's a Flyers and Eagles fan. He's a Philly guy coming out of southern Jersey, Egg Harbor Township. Hashtag Go Birds.
Also a Bird fan, Ravens, however.
Different bird. Isley, interestingly enough, actually had a chance to play with Kitchen when they were in high school, both going to St. Augustine Prep.
Yeah, strong pipeline from St. Augustine Prep on the Delaware Blue Hens. We talked about once these coaches get these pockets of kids. Oh,
Canto wants a goal. He had the goal open just a little too high from the junior goalie. He does have the backup, so it's not a bad shot. You're good.
Dean Desimone, also a St. Augustine Prep player, so some of the studs coming out of there, and it's nice to have that pipeline knowing that they're going to be in good hands with a program they can feel good about.
Here's Monahan. Gets by his man, and Timmy Monahan's got 4. That's been the story of this entire game. Guys for Towson beating their men, getting free and making individual efforts.
Yeah, and I'll be curious to see if they change anything up this late in the game. But yeah, ultimately you got to be able to defend one-on-one. And if you can't, then you got to make sure you're sliding with a 2 slide. And there was another example there. Austin Haynes slid late, and he still didn't have a 2 slide there to support him. So something that's going to be a key, I think, for the defense moving forward next year for Delaware is making sure they shore up that 2 slide and making sure they're supporting each other when they 2 slide.
Monahan now up to 4 goals. That matches a career high that he got last week against Drexel. The 17 goals now, a Towson CAA championships record. McNallen wins the faceoff, and he wants one. Jack McNallen adding to his career day.
And this is where you feel for a guy like Matt Deluca. He's been playing so well. He's got 15-plus saves, and he's just facing down shot after shot after shot, a lot of times with uncontested.
Jack McNallen's 4th goal of the season. Now the 18 goals for Towson ties a CAA championships record for the most goals at a single game. That last time happening with UMass against Drexel back in 2012. And McNallen wins yet another faceoff. He's now won 26 faceoffs. That is also a new CAA championships record, as he had another chance at the goal from distance.
Hey,
why
go
not?
for it. As long as the attack is ready, go for it. I thought maybe Canto would have another crack at it. But at this point, if you're Delaware, why not, right? You might as well double. You might as well pressure everywhere.
You got to try.
6 minutes left. You got 9 goals to go. You're going to have to start scoring with a pretty rapid clip.
Winner of this game moves on to the CAA championship game on Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern, right here on Lac Sports Network. Looks like it's going to be Tigers and Dragons, a matchup we got last weekend. That was a win for Towson, 11-9, but a hard-fought one. We talked about McNallen. He struggled actually at the face-off actually against Jimmy Coita, but came up big in the 4th quarter with a couple of goals.
Yeah, Jimmy Coita just such a scrapper and does such a nice job of battling even when he doesn't win the face-off clean. We saw that from the Drexel team. They did that as a unit against UMass today, so it's going to be a team effort.
McClain stopped by Deluca. And Delaware's got to be like, finally we get an offensive possession here. It has been few and far between in the second half. Dean Desimone quickly picked up by the long pole.
Draws the flags there. That's the first time we've really
over the place. 3 of them down.
The official color of the CAA, yellow. So many teams with the yellow in their jerseys.
We got a lot of yellow, and Joe Isley's got his 4th goal of the game.
This is the game of no sliding. Just drive one-on-one and take a shot.
So we got 3 separate slash penalties coming.
This might be Delaware's chance to win a face-off here.
This is a crowded box in front of us. This is like the old Bash Brothers. You had a Mighty Ducks reference earlier. This is the Bash Brothers in the penalty box.
Fulton Reed.
Now let's just, we don't need the jerseys coming off. Let's just keep this thing PG-13. Porter, yeah.
3 fell off a little bit.
Yeah, 3.
Prep school, they had the prep
D3
school
wasn't
thing.
quite as. We have a 2-minute penalty up on the board and a 1-minute penalty up on the board for Towson, and now we have a penalty for Delaware coming. That's a 30-second on their face-off man, Joe Lenkscold. So
it'll be a 4-on-6 here. Or
4 on 5. Towson gets the ball. They're the team with 4.
This is a hockey power play we've got here.
But it's opposite because they're short-handed now. Towson on offense, looking for the short-handed goal, and Delaware is going to come to try to double. Zach Goodrich, if there's any guy in the entire country that I probably want with the ball, it's him. And we've got a quick timeout for Towson as he was in a little bit of trouble in the corner.
Timeout, Towson.
And we'll take a break. Towson looking to, we will not take a break. Reminder that coming up tomorrow on Lac Sports Network, the CAA Women's Tournament gets underway with the semifinals. First at 4 p.m., defending champion top seed James Madison takes on 4-seeded Elon. Then at 7 p.m. Eastern, it's second-seeded Towson matching up with third-seeded Hofstra. Sunday at noon, those 2 winners meet in the championship game coming your way here on LSN of the men's tournament on Saturday. Mitch, I think this is an interesting time to bring up Towson's resume when you look at it, because the Tigers are a team that entered this week with an RPI of 9. Now, you listen to Terry Foy from Inside Lacrosse talk on their podcast earlier this week. Usually the moment where an at-large team, the numbers for an at-large team are somewhere in the top 12. Well, Towson's numbers right now look pretty good. They're competing with teams like Hopkins and Cornell down the stretch here for that at-large berth. So if they would not win Saturday, say Drexel gets them, what happens? Are they in?
I'm looking down the schedule here, and that win versus Loyola still is probably their top win. They had a couple close losses here at the end, but then that Hopkins win early, but it looks like Hopkins was struggling last time we checked against Maryland.
Well, interestingly enough, that game has kind of flipped the script.
Oh, wow.
Hopkins coming back to win.
So that has even more weight now again.
So that is a good win. However, Hopkins is now a team with 2 wins over Maryland, a top 10 team, which helps their resume. Those numbers, though, you're right, will help Towson because they still have that head-to-head victory over the Blue Jays back in Game 1.
Right, and so really what they need is they need Cornell to win the Ivy League, so that way they get in. That win, or they lost, but it looks like a better loss. That helps them too. Helps me because I'm a fan of Cornell.
Well, here's the interesting thing about Cornell is Delaware takes a timeout, and Towson is now back to being down 2 men. The interesting thing about Cornell is they have a head-to-head win over Towson from back in that neutral site game back in March in Charlotte, and that may hold some weight if the numbers are equal and say Cornell wins in the semifinals against Yale coming up tomorrow night, but then would lose in the championship game, say, to Penn.
Right, yeah, that win tomorrow would be huge against Yale with Yale's record and where they've been, but ultimately it's going to be, like you said, that head-to-head battle. That's where things get screwy in the tournament field because I feel like that has the least amount of bearing on who ends up making these a lot of times in these, when it comes down to that at-large bid.
And Towson, as we said at the top of this whole night in the CAA semifinals, you win 2 games in 3 days, you're in the tournament. You get the automatic qualifier. You are one of the 17 teams in Division I that will be playing in the tournament. But there's always that question. If you lose in the championship game, and I think most people thought if Towson had to win tonight, you had to find a way into the title game, and then it's a question of, all right, what happens?
Yeah, and I was very lucky in my career. I never had that wondering on Selection Sunday. We happen to win every year, so we knew we were in. We just were waiting for the seeding. But I can't imagine that feeling of just waiting, and maybe your season ends after a TV show, or you're all fired up because you make the playoffs. So I can't imagine what that would feel like, being in that room with your teammates, and possibly that being the end of your season.
So 2 men up still for Delaware here, under 4 minutes to go.
Great check inside.
Defensive play. Saunders Healy, not used a lot, but seeing some run here. Making a nice play to get it back to a one-man down spot. Jackson Finnegan showing off the range. The senior trying to get at least one more goal in his career.
Charlie Kitchen with a nice feed there. Surprised they didn't get a better look sooner, but great job collapsing inside defensively, making that difficult.
Jackson Finnegan had a goal last week against UMass.
Like we mentioned, it's nice having this cushion for Towson. They can play some new faces, give their big guns a little bit of a rest, especially at the midfield with that quick turnaround of a Saturday game, giving those guys a little bit of a break, making sure they don't get banged up late in the game.
Jack McNallen still in there at the face-off X, and he's still winning face-offs for Towson. Continues to be stellar at the dot. The interesting thing will be, can he change what he did against Jimmy Coita in the championship game for Towson? Because last week against Drexel, went just 7-22, just about 31% against Coita. He did find a way to win a couple down the stretch, scored a couple of goals, but overall struggled at the X. And that maybe comes into the question, is Alex Woodall healthy? And are you able to throw him out in the championship game on Saturday for Towson?
Yeah, and I would think that there's certainly, if there was a question that he might play tonight, then you're really hoping that he's going to be able to get in on Saturday. But at the same time, you got to imagine that McNallen's confidence is at an all-time high after tonight, and he realizes what he can do and what his wings can support. So good to have that two-headed monster at the X.
Feed in front, a save by Deluca, and a crease violation there on Casey Wasserman. Feed coming from Jack Kimmel, the freshman from Rockville Center, New York.
And this is where Delaware wishes they had the two-point line here.
Yeah, can we throw a couple in there?
A couple of two bombs, they'd be in great shape.
I'm a huge advocate of the two-point line in the college game. I know there are people, a lot of traditionalists that are not. I think the excitement level it brings, especially late in games, all of a sudden you take all those one-goal games that are so interesting down the stretch, and you include all the two-goal games that become one-possession games.
Absolutely. I think the two biggest things for me are tightening up the field a little bit. I think you could reduce the field by 5 to 10 yards on all sides, and then adding a two-point line. That's going to make the game a lot more exciting, a lot more end-to-end action. And like you said, you keep every game a little bit closer and make it more exciting down the stretch. I'll never forget Brody Merrill's full field two-point goal to tie the Dallas Rattlers.
You almost picked that ball up.
I did pick the ball up, and then Brody said, I got it, and I said, okay.
That worked out for the best.
It did. I would have shot, maybe I wouldn't even have gotten it there. So
it allowed us to have one of the greatest goals in professional lacrosse history.
I'm just glad I was there to see Brody's face after it went in.
What was he like?
He just shook his head and laughed like he couldn't even believe it.
Yeah.
And then we still had to play overtime. We won in overtime.
Yeah.
Davey Emola. Yes.
Back in studio. Shout out to Davey.
Wearing his fresh NLL sweatsuit suit.
I think there's a New Girl episode about that. The swoot. It's a sweatshirt material, but you make it into a suit.
I think that's exactly what he was wearing.
Yeah, he's wearing the swoot. We got a timeout for Towson here with under a minute to go, and they've got a 7-goal cushion.
big Zooey Deschanel fan.
New Girl is one of my favorite shows.
Great
Terrific,
show.
terrific
Great show.
stuff. I can watch it on repeat over and over again now on Netflix. Another show you can watch coming up, and it'll be available on demand on Lac Sports Network in June here on LSN, the 2019 IWLCA All-American and Player of the Year award shows will announce the All-Americans and Players of the Year for Division 1, 2, and 3 in a whole bunch of different specials. Those only available right here on Lac Sports Network and the LSN app coming your way this June. Exciting new shows coming your way to check out on LSN once we hit the college lacrosse offseason.
Big pro lacrosse season kicking off here in June. Two leagues.
It's going to be very eventful. You got the PLL kicking off June 1st at Gillette Stadium. The MLL kicking off that weekend as well.
It's good for the sport.
A lot of different players getting a lot of different opportunities across the two leagues.
And then with the contraction of the MLL teams, you got more competitive teams. So you're looking at six teams in each league. You're
that
still
are loaded.
Exactly. You still have the best players in the world across the two leagues.
Got some guys like Zach Goodrich and Alex Woodall that are here in this game for Towson that have a chance to choose between the PLL and MLL. Looking at their situations moving into this summer.
Chase Conkle, big senior from Denver, Colorado, getting in for Delaware Blue Hens. So some seniors getting some time here, getting to cap off their career. Mark Beta as well in an attack.
Cool opportunity in a tough game for the Blue Hens, but a chance to get a little bit more time. We got one more flag down. 7 seconds left. Shot and saved. That was Shane Brennan with the stop for Towson, and he seals the victory. For the 5th straight season, the Tigers are headed to the CAA championship game, 18-11 winners over the Blue Hens. Really an all-around performance. This second half showcased what has made Towson such a feared team for teams throughout the season. Their ability to win faceoffs, even without Alex Woodall, and their ability to dodge with guys like a Brendon Sunday or a Brody Mcclain and create their own shot.
Yeah, you look just straight down the line, all of their attackmen had hat tricks. And then they got another 4-goal performance from Monahan. So just having so many good one-on-one dodgers that can break a man down is going to give Drexel a lot to handle when they meet up on Saturday.
Early thoughts on this championship game we're going to see Saturday here at 1 p.m. Eastern. Towson against Drexel. What are you interested in seeing?
I'm really interested in seeing what Coach Volker throws out there defensively. He likes to throw different looks, possibly a little zone, possibly a little short stick matchup down low on some of the attackmen. But with this attack, I don't know who you short stick. So there's definitely going to be a different feel to this game than there were to these two games tonight.
So the Tigers continue their season at least one more game. Once again, our final score here from Garber Field. Towson 18, Delaware 11. Towson moving on to Saturday's championship game to face Drexel. For Mitch Belisle, our producer Dylan Hand, and our entire crew, I'm Travis Eldridge. We'll be back Saturday afternoon for the CAA Men's Championship game at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Also, don't forget, Lac Sports Network, also the home of the CAA Women's Tournament. That starts tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern here on LSN. Thanks for watching the CAA on LSN. For more and all on this game and all the other games going on around the Nation and Conference Tournament, we'll send you back into the LSN Broadcast Center.
Wow, what a night in Amherst at the CAA semifinals. We've got Danny Seibel, Davey Emila, Brendan Glasheen here. We've been here for you all night, wrapping everything up tonight, guys. From that